A lot of PriceLabs users are not using the best functionalities and features that are available. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the most unknown features that are very helpful to use in your revenue management.
Get paid for your pad.
Welcome back to Get Paid for Your Pad. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through a number of features and functionalities that I've noticed a lot of PriceLabs users are not using. So to give a little bit of context on this, we go through a lot of PriceLabs accounts because as part of our free audit that we do for revenue management, people give us access to their PriceLabs and we go through and find opportunities for improvement. But as we're doing that, we're also getting an insight into what features and customizations and functionalities are people using. And then we often notice that there are some very useful features that are not being used. And then when we ask the operator where you're using it, the answer is usually, oh, I didn't know you could do that. In this episode, I've selected 7 different features that I think are just not very well known. Some of them are request only, so you actually have to reach out to PriceLabs support to get access to the feature. And so that's probably one reason that a lot of hosts are not using them, because they don't show up in PriceLabs unless you actually reach out to PriceLabs support. So for some of this stuff, I'm going to be sharing my screen. So if you're listening, I'll do my best to make it as useful as possible also for the ones that are listening. But I do recommend go ahead to our YouTube channel, Throughout Foundry, where you can watch the video, because that will just make a little bit more sense. So the first thing I want to talk about is what's called combined listings. Now, this is very useful if you have a master listing setup. What that means is, let's say you have a duplex where you rent out the entire house, but you also rent out individual floors in itself. Or let's say you have a building that has 5 apartments, you rent out the individual apartments, but sometimes you also rent out the entire building. Now, if somebody books the entire building, the revenue is going to flow to that master listing. And as a result, the individual units might not look that good on paper if you look at the performance, if you look at the occupancy, the revenue, because some of that revenue and occupancy is now on the master listing. And so this kind of messes up the KPIs, right? And as a result, it's just harder to really track like how are the units performing. So one solution to this is to use the what's called combined listings. So I'll share my screen and show you where you can find it. So this is our PriceLabs account. Now, this is a request only feature, so you do have to reach out to PriceLabs. But now, once you've done that and you go to manage listings, you'll see there's now a tab that says combined listings right next to the mapped listings, right? Mapped listings you can use to create parent-child relationships. But if you click on combined listing, you can now select a master, which in our case, we have 4 cabins on our project in Idlewild, but we also rent out the entire property. And so now we have combined the entire property with the individual units, as you can see on the screen here. So now what's going to happen is when we get a booking for the entire village, the revenue is going to flow to the individual units versus the master listing. So as an example, I'm going to show this July 24th, July 25th, we have a booking for the entire village. And so if we go to Report Builder, and then I'll select the leaderboard, and then I'll select those dates. So we're only going to look at July 24 and 25th. And what you'll see is that obviously we're 100% occupied. You'll see that in this report, the village is not showing up. So the master listing is not showing up. Only the individual listings are showing up. Of course, we have 100% occupancy, and then it was booked. It will split the ADR. So essentially, like, it splits the revenue in the ADR based off of the 4 units. So each unit gets a 1/4 of the ADR that village was booked at. And then also you can see obviously rental, RevPAR, and ADR are the same. And you can see here the revenue is now $935.41 for each of the individual listings. So this way, because all revenue is flowing back to the individual units, the KPIs are essentially, they don't get messed up. So this is a really nice way of doing it. One improvement that I would love PriceLabs to make is that we should be able to allocate more revenue to certain units and less to other units. Like, for example, we have Ursus, which is a 3-bedroom. We have Juniper, that's a 2-bedroom, and a Culture Pine and Black Mountain are a studio and a 1-bedroom. And so it would make more sense to allocate a little bit more revenue to the 3-bedroom and the 2-bedroom versus splitting it just equally like PriceLabs is doing here. So that's the first functionality that I wanted to show. And again, you have to reach out to PriceLabs support to be able to get this. Second thing is subgroups. you're probably aware that in PriceLabs you can create groups. This is very useful if you're in different markets. You might want to group your listings per market, or if you're in one market, you might want to group them per the neighborhood that the units are in, or you might want to group your units according to how many bedrooms it has, right? So if you're just in one market and all your units are kind of in the same area, you might say, hey, let's create groups for 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, because then you can customize your settings. Like, for example, your minimum night stay settings, you can customize those because they might be a little bit different for like a 1 bedroom versus like a 3 or 4 bedroom. Now, imagine that you have a portfolio where you are in 3 different markets. Market A, market B, market C. But you also have a wide range of bedroom sizes, right? So you have some 1 beds, some studios, but you also have some 4 beds, some 5 beds, some 6 beds. Now, the question then becomes, do we group according to the market or do we group according to bedroom size? Well, with subgroups, you can do both. So you can create 3 groups, one for market A, one for market B, one for market C. But then you can also create subgroups for like 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, or maybe 1 and 2 bedrooms together, and then maybe 3 and 4 together, and then maybe 5+ is a separate group. And that what allows you to do then is to select different settings for all the 5 bedrooms, but also or for the different bedroom sizes and for the different markets, right? And so it gives you more flexibility in how you want to apply your customizations. So that's very useful as well. Again, this is a feature request. So if you do want to start using those subgroups, then you have to reach out to PriceLabs support and they can activate that for you. Now, the next thing, which I'll share my screen. One issue that we sometimes run into is that not all booking data is in the PMS. So for example, if you switch from one PMS to another PMS, then you might not have all the data. Like obviously you want to have all the data, but not every PMS, some do, some don't, but not every PMS where you can then upload the historic data into your new PMS so that you don't lose anything. Now, if you can't, then you're going to be missing data in PriceLabs, right? Because PriceLabs pulls directly from the PMS. So in order to fix that, obviously the best thing to do is to just see if you can upload the old data to your new PMS. But if for whatever reason that is not possible, there's also an option in PriceLabs to upload data directly to PriceLabs. So I'm going to show you where you can find that. If you go to Portfolio Analytics and then you go to KPIs and Historic Reports, once you requested this feature, there's going to be 3 little dots right next to the download as PDF. You click on that, you can download a sample CSV. Right, so I'll open it up so you can see what it looks like. So here we go. This is the sample CSV that PriceLabs provide. You can then fill in all the details here, and I highly recommend using Claude for that. If you have a lot of booking data, you could just download it, put it into Claude, upload the sample into Claude, and Claude will actually fill out this thing for you. It's a bit finicky because you have to get the formatting right and some other stuff. So there's a big help article on PriceLabs that you can use. But once you've filled out that sheet, you can just upload the CSV directly to PriceLabs, and that way you will then have your data in PriceLabs. It's obviously very important to have accurate data because it plays a big role in making pricing decisions. So that's the third feature. The next one is the safety minimum price. So this was introduced pretty recently, and essentially what it does is it calculates for every date in the future in your calendar. PriceLabs calculates the average price that those dates were booked at last year, and it takes a 3-week window for that. So it looks like it's the average price that you got booked at last year, and then it sets that as a safety minimum as a default 180 days out. So I'm going to share my screen again because it gets a little tricky. So I'm going to go to the multi-calendar to demonstrate this. So as a default, this is turned on. So I'll show you in customizations here. If you go to safety minimum price, you can see here it's auto applied. Safety minimum sets to 110% of last year's ADR for the same week, plus or minus 1 week, total of 3 weeks, beyond 180 days. Okay, and we can change this. But I'm going to show you first like how this works. If we go, to select 6 months out, so let's just scroll all the way to December, and we should see some of those safety settings in place. All right, so here we have a few examples of it. So let's just take this as an example here. Sunday, December 13th, for this unit Ursus, you can see here that the customized price is $369, but then PriceLabs raises it to $436 because of the safety minimum price rule. Now, the whole idea behind this is, of course, to protect revenue far out. right? So it's a good idea for sure. I mean, it's a good concept, but it does get a little bit tricky because it looks at where the unit got booked at a few weeks around the date that you're looking at, right? So in this case, it's determined that last year we got booked at $436. So I'm just going to pull up the neighborhood data graph here to kind of see like, well, where did those bookings come in last year? We're looking at December 13th. So I see a booking here at 323, but then there's a booking on the 20th at 506. And there's a booking on the Friday, December 4th at 451. So, it's taking those data points, calculating the average, and then essentially it doesn't want us to get booked below that. However, if you have a lot of weekend bookings and you didn't get booked a lot during the week, it's now going to take the average of all those bookings. It's not going to look at weekend versus weekday. So, for 436 for like a Sunday is actually that's very high. That's a very high ADR for a Sunday. And even here on the Monday, it's setting at 315, where it's going to be tough to get it booked at that price. And so that's the only issue that I have with this setting is that sometimes based on the bookings that you got last year, it might be applying a ADR that's too high and that's going to prevent you from getting booked. Now, if you're in a market where the booking window is pretty short, and then it's probably not going to hurt you because people aren't going to book that far out anyway. But, in a lot of markets, Christmas or Thanksgiving, people might book pretty far in advance. So definitely want to, if you have this turned on, and this is turned on by default, definitely want to check out some of those dates further out in the future to see that PriceLabs is not putting it too high. Now you can turn this off. So if you go to your listing, your customizations, you go to safety minimum price. If you turn on the toggle here, then you can choose between PriceLabs recommended, custom, or no safety minimum price. So if you select no safety minimum price, then what you will see is that obviously it's not going to apply it. So let's just test this out. I selected Culture Pine here, or auto unit, but I did have some minimum price settings on the calendar here, and now they have disappeared. So yeah, you can turn this off or you can keep it on. Next thing is forecasting. This is a pretty useful feature that you can find in the report builder. So you go to Portfolio Analytics and then Report Builder, you'll see that there's a standard report that's called Forecast Rental Revenue and Occupancy. And when you click on that, what you will see is that PriceLabs uses basically historic data to predict occupancy and also to predict rental revenue. So you can see here in column E, there's a rental revenue forecast year over year. There's a rental revenue forecast. So for example, for this year, PriceLabs thinks that Black Mountain is going to make $107,000, which is pretty accurate. I think it very well may do around that number. So pretty useful. You can also see the forecasted occupancy and then how that's going to be the difference between this year and last year. Now this is being updated, I think every week or so. So right now, the last time this was updated on May 28th. I'm recording this on June 1st, so that's a couple days ago. I think it updates like once a week or so. So this is just an easy way for you to see like what you're expected to make. Obviously, this could be a little bit off. We've seen portfolios where it's not very accurate, so it just kind of depends. But for this portfolio, like it seems pretty accurate. So it's an easy way to forecast. You might want to share that with your owners if you're managing for other people. You can also, when you create a new report, you can also select this forecasted revenue as well. So if you create a new report, which I highly recommend that you create some custom reports. If you go to the revenue metrics and you scroll all the way down, then I think it's in there, or it might just be in there. Oh yeah, no, it's on their revenue, rental revenue, total revenue. There's a bunch of things that you can forecast, but definitely on the rental revenue, there's this option, rental revenue forecast year over year, and then you can also compare it to a goal if you've set a goal. So that's the fifth feature I wanted to show you. Next up is rental revenue formula. So as a default, there's two revenues that you can track in PriceLabs. Number one is what's called rental revenue. As a default, that's only looking at the nightly rate that the guest pays. Then you also have total revenue. As a default, that's only looking at the payout that you receive. So it includes the cleaning fee. It also includes the OTA commission that you pay, or excludes it, I should say. So it takes out the commission. So it's really like the host payout. So you see both these revenues show up in different reports, both total revenue and rental revenue. And you can now define how PriceLabs calculates that. So for example, if you want to look at total revenue, let's say you don't want to subtract the OTA commission and sort of get the highest amount of revenue. I mean, some of our clients like to look at that number because it's the highest number that you can find. You can now go to settings, you go to revenue formula, and you can actually edit the rental revenue and the total revenue formula. So that's pretty useful. You just click on the button and you can include all these different things like total cost, total fees, cleaning fees, total discounts, host service fee, rental income, and security deposit. And you can also test it out by running it on the latest booking. So that's a pretty neat feature that PriceLabs now has. Lastly, I wanted to show you the check-in and check-out profiles. So this is pretty useful if you are in a market where you can't do turnovers on certain dates, or if you just want to restrict check-ins or check-outs to maximize revenue. In some markets, you might want to restrict a Saturday check-in, check-out if it's a heavy weekend market. You don't want to split up your weekend, or for example, Thanksgiving, you don't want people checking in on the Thursday, or you don't want people checking in on Christmas Day, New Year's Day. Those are kind of like the usual suspects when it comes to check-in, check-out restrictions. So if you go to customizations and you go to profiles, you can create check-in and check-out profiles. So I created one for our portfolio for New Year's Day and for Thanksgiving because we don't want turnovers on Thanksgiving's day, right, on the Thursday. So we don't allow people to check in or to check out on the Thursday. So we created that profile, and then you can apply that profile on, for example, in your custom seasonal profile. So if I go to our custom seasonal profile here, you will see that we have applied the check-in profile for Thanksgiving and for New Year's Day. And so as a result, if I go to my multi-calendar and I scroll all the way through to Thanksgiving, then you'll see that it's not allowing a check-in or a check-out on those dates, right? So we hover over the first day here, you'll see like no check-in allowed, no check-out allowed. This is pretty useful. I mean, there's different ways of doing this, of course. You could just go straight on the calendar. You can go on the account level, the group level, the individual calendars, right? You can put overrides. I just like to minimize the amount of overrides that I'm putting. If I have a different way of setting it up, I prefer to set things up through these profiles and through these custom seasonal profiles, because then you have your calendar open. There's no, it looks nice and clean. There's not too many overrides. And then if you do want to put an override, then you don't get too many things in one override, right? Let's say I want to decrease the price by 10% for Thanksgiving's Day. You know, if there's already a check-in and check-out restriction, I can definitely add the 10% discount to that override. But when you have a lot of things in one override, it kind of becomes a little bit difficult to understand. And it's also easy to make mistakes with that. So I prefer, to do it in the cleanest way, which in this case is using those check-in and checkout profiles. So I think those are definitely useful. So these are just 7 functionalities or features that I noticed that a lot of hosts are not using. I think they're all very useful. Some of them might be useful for you. Some of them might not, depending on your market, depending on your business. But I thought it'd be helpful to just kind of bring awareness to this, especially because some of these features are request only. Now, lastly, one other last thing I just wanted to point out is that when you go to the PriceLabs setting page, there's now a control panel. When you go to the control panel, you can actually turn on and off a lot of these advanced features. So even when you request it, if it's not showing up, you might have to go to your control panel and actually tick the box to actually turn it on. So with that said, that's it for today. So I hope you find this useful. Of course, if you are looking for a revenue management partner, we work with operators that do at least $1 million in yearly bookings. You can go to freewild.foundry.com/report. We'll do a free report for you. We'll point out the opportunities, how much we think you can increase your revenue. We'll also show you where we think we can find that revenue. And if we think it's a win-win to work with you, then we'll let you know how we can work together as well. We currently have over 75 clients in different markets, mostly in the States and Canada, but we have other markets around the world as well. So with that said, thank you for listening, and we will be back soon with another episode.
Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad. Get paid for your pad.